Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Futurists, your one-stop shop for science, history, politics, and all things related to the world of tomorrow.
Today we'll be discussing the world's biggest sporting event of the year, usually the most watched, and one of the most famous ones, the FIFA World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah, the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar is the first World Cup tournament hosted in the Middle East, the second one in Asia after South Korea, Japan in 2002, and the first one that's not in the summer due to Qatar's immense heat.
Yeah. In the past, we've done very long-term predictions, for the Republican Party, for brain-machine interfaces. But today we're going to do a pretty short-term one.
Yeah, and this one's kind of has a fun aspect. And the FIFA World Cup is the most watched sporting event, as Jerry mentioned, with about 3.5 to 4 billion viewers, and the final having usually about 1 billion viewers. So it'll be interesting to see who wins the trophy and bring some glory to their sporting fans at home.
Yeah. So we have 8 different initial groups for the World Cup this year. Let's start with Group A: Ecuador, the Netherlands, Qatar, and Senegal. What are your thoughts?
So Qatar is the host. That's the first time they've ever been. I personally wouldn't think they would qualify if they weren't the host. Their hosting process did kind of have some corruption allegations, and they did receive some criticism for how they treated labor workers. Many died in the process. But regardless, during the tournament, they actually won the last AFC Asian Cup, which was pretty impressive for a team of their standard. All of their players play domestically, so I'm not expecting much from them. The hosting advantage shouldn't be underrated, though. Russia wasn't a great team either, but in 2018 they reached top 8 just by the home advantage. But I still do not see Qatar going through. I see them finishing 4th in this group. For Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands, they are pretty competitive in this group. Netherlands obviously is one of the best in the world. They're 3 times runners-up. One of the unluckiest teams, the best team to not win it yet. So they might give it a go this time. They have some key players such as Memphis Depay up top, Virgil van Dijk in defense, probably the best defensive player in the world, and Frankie de Jong in midfield. I see them finishing first. Senegal and Ecuador is very tough. Any of those 2 teams could qualify. Senegal is the recent African champions with stars such as Sadio Mane playing in Liverpool and Edouard Mendy in Chelsea. Ecuador is a pretty young.
Can you repeat the last sentence after young team?
Yeah, so Ecuador is a pretty young team. They finished 4th place in South American qualifiers, which are the hardest qualifiers out of them all. They finished above teams like Peru, Chile, Paraguay, so some good teams, and they have some quality players in Villarreal, Bayer Leverkusen. But I still see Senegal going through due to their immense team chemistry and just the amount of stars they have. They won the recent African championship.
So one question I have for you is if you had to bet on it for your life, would you say Senegal or Ecuador? Which one would qualify?
They're pretty close, in my opinion, in quality, but I would say Senegal just because they have more stars like Idrissa Gueye in Paris Saint-Germain, Edouard Mendy in Chelsea, the best goalkeeper of the year award. He just won it. Sadio Mane, one of the best wingers in the world. He just transferred to Bayern Munich. So some really good players, and since they've showed it twice recently, once by qualifying to the World Cup, winning against Egypt, which is a good team, and another time by winning the AFCON pretty recently, a couple months ago. Since they've showed that quality, I see them finishing above Ecuador.
All right. Do you think that any of the teams here, since the Netherlands is the best one, I'll ask specifically for them, do you think they have any chance at top 8 or higher?
Do I think Netherlands could reach top 8 or higher? I do, actually. I'm pretty sure they will reach top 8. I don't know if about higher though. We can discuss that later on when we go into the elimination matches.
All right. Now let's go on to Group B, which is England, one of the most famous teams in the world, 4th place last year, and cited the Premier League, one of the most watched leagues in football. Then Iran, the United States, and Wales.
So England, they finished fourth, as you mentioned, the last World Cup. They were runners-up in this year's Euros, losing to Italy in penalty kicks. They're one of the most hyped-up squads in the world, with stars in every position. Their right-back position is pretty famous for having 3 stars in the Premier League top clubs, such as Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and Kieran Trippier. Their star is definitely Harry Kane, who just scored his 50th international goal. They have some other young stars such as Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, and John Stones in defense, Declan Rice in midfield. So they're favorites to finish first in this group. However, their recent form, such as losing 4-0 to Hungary in Nations League, has kind of worried their fans, who always chant "is coming home" for every single soccer tournament recently. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm predicting them to finish first in the group. For the other teams, Iran, USA, and Wales, I think it's going to be really close, since all those teams are pretty close in quality. In FIFA rankings, USA is 15th, Wales is 18th, and Iran is 21st. However, I was originally predicting Iran to go through, since they had really good form through Asian qualifiers, only losing once and having 25 points, being the first team to qualify from Asia. But their recent friendly against Algeria kind of worried me as someone who's their fan, and they had really bad preparations. On the other hand, USA did really good. They beat Morocco 3-0, drew Uruguay 0-0, and did pretty good in general. They have some great players such as Pulisic in Chelsea, Reina in Dortmund, and McKinney in Juventus. Wales, they're a pretty good team. They just beat Ukraine to qualify for the tournament. It's the second time they are ever in this, and they're the smallest nation at the World Cup. Their star is definitely Gareth Bale, their Real Madrid player and legend. And Iran stars are Taremi from Porto and Azmoun from Bayer Leverkusen. But I see USA finishing second, and Iran finishing third, and Wales finishing fourth.
Yeah, all right. Sorry for that hiccup. Apparently, my website is quite inaccurate on information. So yeah, only question I'd have for that is since we both reside in the United States, how far do you see the US team going this year?
I see them reaching the round of 16s and losing there, but I'll explain why more in a bit when we get to that stage.
Now going to Group C, you have Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. What are your thoughts?
So, Argentina, in my opinion, they're one of the favorites to win the tournament. They just beat Italy 3-0 in the Finalissima. Lionel Messi, the greatest star in the world, if not the greatest, one of the top two, because some people would disagree with that. I also see Cristiano Ronaldo there. They definitely have a good squad with players such as Dybala, Romero, De Paul, and Di Maria. Their goalkeeper is pretty good too now, which they usually had a problem in that position. So I see them finishing first with 9 points pretty easily in this group. The other teams, they're not in great form right now. Mexico is having one of their worst years ever. Just completely not being informed. They lost 3-0 to Uruguay in a friendly match recently. Saudi Arabia usually follows the World Cup every time they go. They did pretty good in Asian qualifiers, finishing first above Japan, which is a pretty good team. But last time in the World Cup, they lost 5-0 to Russia. Pretty sure they've lost 8-0 to Germany once in 2002. So I don't see them finishing anywhere above fourth. All their players play domestically. Poland is where I see potential to finish second. Robert Lewandowski, the FIFA Player of the Year, plays there. Is the greatest world striker in many people's opinion, and they have a good goalkeeper, Szczesny, who plays in Juventus. Zelensky, a player in Napoli. So they have pretty good squad. I see Poland finishing second, and Mexico, despite qualifying for the round of 16s for the past 7 or 8 tournaments, I see them not doing that this time around.
Wow, so you see Mexico not qualifying? It's a pretty hot take.
Yeah, so I see Poland being slightly above, but I think it's going to be pretty close. I wouldn't be surprised if they qualify.
All right. Moving on to Group D, we have last year's champions, France, along with Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia.
Yeah, so I originally thought Tunisia was going to be like a really bad team, but they just beat Japan 3-0. They kind of proved me wrong. France, they're having a kind of a bad form right now, but I don't like they just lost to like Croatia and Denmark and Austria. I mean, I think they drew Austria, but still. They're like last place in their Nations League group. And but like they're the most stacked team out of them all. They have a star in every position. They have Benzema, is the Ballon d'Or favorite this year, the Real Madrid star. Mbappe, a PSG player, also a star. Griezmann, Varane, Theo Hernandez, Mainan, and Hugo Lloris in goal. Like every position, they're stacked. Their second team is stacked. The second is probably better than like all of the other first teams. Even like the teams that like they can probably make like a couple other teams that don't even like make the French squad. That's how stacked they are. But there's a thing in like soccer nowadays called the Champions Curse. So the winners of the World Cup in the like previous edition usually do not go through from the group stage for some reason, which is pretty weird. It happened first with France. I mean, Italy, who won 2006 but didn't qualify from the 2010 group. Spain, who won 2010 but didn't qualify from the 2014 group. And most recently with Germany, who won the 2014 edition but didn't qualify from the 2018 group. I don't see the French squad having that problem this time, but I see Denmark going first. They have great players such as Christian Eriksen. They're pretty united. They just beat France 2-1 in like a Nations League match. I see Denmark going first, France finishing second, Tunisia third, and Australia fourth. Australia, I don't see much hope in them. I didn't even think they were going to qualify. They beat Peru in the penalty kicks. They did pretty bad in Asian qualifiers, so I'm not expecting much from them.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that there's like the Champions Curse, and we'll see if France can break it this year or whether they'll continue to trend.
France is kind of lucky in that Tunisia and Australia are kind of like not top teams, and they're stacked in so many positions that even if they play like really below their own standard, I think they still should win those games.
Yeah, that's true. And then Group E, we have Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. What are your thoughts?
So Spain and Germany are two World Cup contenders in the same group, which makes it really tough for Japan and Costa Rica. Japan, I think, is a really impressive team. I think if they were in any other group, they could possibly finish second and qualify for the next round. However, in this group, it's like too hard. Germany with Hansi Flick is a really good team. They just beat Italy 5-2. They were about to beat England like 1-0 onto like a really controversial penalty kick. They're just playing like really good attacking football with stars such as Serge Gnabry, Thomas Muller, and their great goalkeeper Manuel Neuer. So I see them finishing first. Spain, they're a really young squad with Luis Enrique leading them. Like 18-year-old player Pedri, 17-year-old Gavi, but there are stars in their clubs such as Barcelona. So I see them finishing second in this group. And Japan, great quality. I see them finishing third. They have some stand-up players such as Tomiyasu from Arsenal, but I don't see the quality being enough. Costa Rica, the only good player I really see is Keylor Navas, their goalkeeper, but I see them finishing fourth. I'm pretty like I was watching the game against New Zealand in the playoffs to reach the World Cup. I think New Zealand was actually the better team. Costa Rica kind of got lucky, but the interesting thing about Costa Rica is that in 2014 there were the miracles. They were in a group with Italy, England, and Uruguay, past World Cup winners. They finished first and went all the way to the top 8 teams and lost the penalty kicks to the Netherlands. So they might try to like redo a miracle like that again.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they will. That's incredibly unlucky for Japan, though, that they're in such a stacked bracket.
Yeah, I think that's a group of death. I don't know.
Yeah. Next, we have Group 4, Belgium, Canada, and this is where Morocco and Croatia are.
Yeah, so Group F, Belgium is a great side. They finished third last time. They're kind of aging and their players are kind of declining, but I see De Bruyne from Man City and like Lukaku, Eden Hazard, Courtois, probably the best goalkeeper right now, making them finish first. They usually do good in like group stages anyways. Croatia, I was kind of doubting them in the beginning, but like Luka Modric, Kovacic, all those players are still doing pretty good. they have some like young talents coming up, such as Stanisic and Guardiol. So I see them finishing second. They were the runners-up last tournament too. They had a really good run. So last two teams are Canada and Morocco. Everybody says Canada is like a dark horse for finishing first in CONCACAF. I think Mexico and the US were just like underperforming. Morocco, like they're a really good team. They're definitely more stacked than Canada. They have Ashraf Hakimi, who plays for PSG, one of the best right backs in the world, and some like their goalkeeper is the La Liga goalkeeper of the season, the Bono. But they did really bad in the friendly against the US, so I'm kind of doubting them. But the Canada had a worse situation. They had a friendly canceled with Iran, and then later on they canceled a friendly with Panama over like paying issues, and then they lost 2-1 to Honduras. So even with players such as Alphonso Davis, I see them finishing fourth and Morocco third.
Yeah. Belgium and Croatia are both like pretty star-heavy teams. You have like Luka Modric, former Ballon d'Or winner, even.
Yeah,
and
he's at 38 years old. He's still a pretty solid midfielder.
Yeah, it's pretty old for a football player. And Group G, we have Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
I see Brazil finishing first. Pretty easy choice for me. They're one of the favorites to win it. They're really stacked right now with Neymar, Vinicius Jr., Richarlison, Fabinho, Rodri, and two great goalkeeping options in Ederson and Alisson, the goalkeepers for Liverpool and Manchester City. So I see them finishing first. They're like problematic like positions, probably like right back and left back, but I think they can still do it. Serbia and Switzerland are going to be pretty close in my opinion. Cameroon, I think, is going to finish fourth. They got third place in the African Cup, but the African quality is kind of lower compared to European teams. They have some good players such as Ikambi, who plays in Lyon, but I don't see them finishing anywhere but fourth. Switzerland, Serbia has like better players right now, such as Dusan Vlahovic in Juventus, but Switzerland always kind of doesn't in major tournaments. They upset France in the Euros 2020 and barely lost to Spain in penalty kicks. And even like the last World Cup, these two teams were in the same group, and Switzerland won 2-1 on a last-minute goal. That match was really controversial because of like the Albanian origin of the players, and like they made some signs and stuff that kind of got controversial for ethnic conflicts and stuff. But I see Switzerland finishing second, Serbia third, Cameroon fourth.
All right. So Brazil first, Switzerland second. Or do you agree with like the conventional wisdom that Brazil is like the favorites to win, or do you think a different team?
I see Brazil and Argentina are my top two favorites.
Oh, I see. All right, and we'll like discuss that more after Group H, which is Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, South Korea.
Yeah. So Portugal, I was doubting them in the beginning, but they did really good in the Nations League. They're one of the most stacked teams again. Cristiano Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, João Felix, Rafael Leao. Great players in like all positions. Their defense is kind of old, but they're still good. Like Cancelo, and right back is a great player. Their coach is kind of like conservative. They don't really attack much, but he did win them the Euros like a couple years ago in America run. So I still don't doubt him. I see them finishing first, but like not being a dominant team in all their matches. I think they're trying to like barely do it. Uruguay, I see them finishing second. They're 2 times World Cup champions. They're kind of not as good right now, but they still have good players like Edinson Cavani and Darwin Núñez, who just signed for Liverpool. I see the quality in this team being higher than Korea and Ghana. I see Korea finishing third and Ghana finishing fourth. Ghana is in like really bad form right now. They got really lucky with their draw to even qualify. They lost like 4-1 to Japan recently. South Korea, they have one stand-up player, Son. He's one of the best in the world and plays for Spurs. I think he himself can just get them 3 points against Ghana and get them getting third place. So
right.
round of 16, I was plugging in the teams as we went on. The first match is Netherlands versus the US. So let me ask you, as a US fan, how much like probability would you give this US side to go through?
Would I give for like the US to win this match?
Yeah.
I know the Netherlands are supposed to be like a pretty strong team.
Yeah.
Well, I do like that the USA is supposed to do better this year. Maybe like 30%. Well, what would you give it?
I would give them about the same as well. I think Netherlands are just like really good. So it's gonna be hard. Like, they just beat Belgium 4-1, which is also a top team. So I see Netherlands winning this 2-1, but it would be a really nice like underdog run if USA wins this. I think the USA side is gonna be really good for 2026 though, which is gonna be hosted in the US, Canada, and Mexico. So like the team's pretty young. It's the youngest team in the World Cup, and there's some really great players, especially in the midfield. So, but I still see Netherlands doing it this time. The second matchup is France-Argentina. It's going to be really interesting. Both of the teams have won the World Cup twice. They faced last time in 2018 World Cup, and that was the match of the tournament. It ended 4-3 for France. It was a thriller of a match. Mbappe did really good, but this time I see Messi and his man like doing it against France. They're really impressive right now, and they do not have like the same like defense and goalkeeping problems that they had last time around. And Messi is in like good form internationally right now. Next matchup is England and Senegal. Senegal is African champions, but I think England are gonna like barely do it. Maybe like get a goal in extra time and win it, like a Harry Kane penalty kick. Fourth matchup, we have Denmark and Poland. Denmark, I think, are my dark horse for this tournament. I think they're gonna win it like 2-0, pretty solidly. Next matchup, we have Germany and Croatia. I think Germany's gonna do it. They have like really good quality in every position. They play attacking football. They're a team with like high morale. Their coach is pretty good. Hansi Flick. Next matchup, we have Brazil versus Uruguay. I see Brazil winning this pretty solidly. They're a favorite to win it, the whole thing. Last matchup, we have Portugal and Switzerland. I think Portugal's gonna barely do it. Switzerland is a team to upset like big teams, but I still see like Portugal going through. With the great quality that I have, the only matchup remaining is Spain versus Belgium. This one is the one that gives me like headaches because the two teams are really good, both of them. They're both like favorites to win the World Cup and have great players, and they're like pretty even. Like this match is a 50-50 for me. I think Belgium usually underwhelms in the moment that they have to. I think the winner of this game is going to go all the way to the finals. But I see Spain like barely doing it in penalty kicks. But I wouldn't be surprised if Belgium wins this.
Yeah, next you are going to do a round of 8 as well?
Yeah, quarterfinals. We have Netherlands, Argentina. Netherlands are a great team, but I see Argentina going through. As I already explained, they're my favorite to win the tournament, along with Brazil. Germany versus Brazil. This one's also going to be really tough. Germany, in my opinion, are the third favorites to win this tournament. I think their squad is going to be like really a favorite to win the 2024 like Euros, but for this World Cup, I see Brazil going through like barely though. I think they're going to get their revenge from the 7-1 loss in 2014. Finally, Neymar's going to be like really motivated as well. And England and Denmark, this is a repeat of a Euro 2020 semifinals matchup. England won that game on a controversial penalty kick, like penalty decision that Harry Kane scored. But I see Denmark going through this time. This is like my surprise prediction. I think Denmark's going to go all the way to the semifinals and beat England. And Spain-Portugal, a classic. The two Iberian teams. I see Spain doing it. They have like really great attacking quality. Portugal's probably gonna like sit back and concede the 3 goals. It's gonna be close though. So
yep.
Semifinals, Argentina, Brazil, Denmark, Spain. So the Argentina Brazil game is the one we have hope to see in the final because the two teams are so great. They were my two favorites to win this tournament. So it's going to be really tough. In the Copa America recently, Argentina won 1-0. They actually have a scheduled game for September. It was delayed from their matchup late, like last year. So it'll be a good like estimate of what the team's worth are. But I see Argentina going through. I think Lionel Messi and his men are really motivated right now. Their coach Scaloni is a pretty good manager too. I see them barely winning this in like extra time. Probably like a free kick from Lionel Messi. And Denmark, Spain. Denmark is a great team. I had them as my dark horse. I don't see them winning this game though. I think Spain's like great quality team. And Argentina, Spain, I think is gonna be the final. Argentina, I think, are going to do it and win it for the third time. Lionel Messi, I think, is going to win his first World Cup to replace Maradona as Argentina's new international legend. In my opinion, he is the greatest player ever. And just putting this through, I saw that like the percentage of people who have chosen a team to win it, Argentina is actually first at 20%, Brazil second at 18%, and England third at 16%. From this Telegraph website I'm using, like other users' predictions. So a lot of people actually agreed with me, 20% of people, that Argentina is going to win this.
Yeah. If Argentina does win, I think that your opinion that Messi's the greatest player of all time, it might become like widely accepted. The same way like Tom Brady is considered the greatest quarterback of all time for most people.
Yeah, because he's won like everything except for this tournament. He's won the Copa America now. He's won the UCL 4 times. He's won the domestic league, 7 Ballon d'Ors, the most golden boots. So this is going to be his tournament. And it's going to be like his last chance too. He's like 35. I don't think it's going to be that great at 39.
Yeah. Any ending remarks?
No, I just think this tournament's going to be really interesting. I see some sides such as France and England being kind of overhyped, and some sides such as Denmark being dark horses. The one dark horse I hope would happen is Japan. I think they had the quality to like maybe knock off Spain, who I had them like going all the way to the finals, but I think Japan can actually do it. And the most interesting group, in my opinion, is Group B: England, USA, Iran, Wales. Some like political under stories. The England-Wales derby, the Iran-USA game, the USA-England game, which is like the soccer versus football matchup. That game's gonna be interesting. An interesting fact is that England has never beat the US in the World Cup. The 2 times they faced, 2010 was a 1-1 draw with like a goalkeeping mistake from England, and 1950 USA won 1-0 in the greatest like soccer upset of the world. Like a team of farmers and ranchers from like Missouri beat an English side who had the best players in the world. So that just proves that nothing is impossible in sports.
Let's see if America can do it upset again. And November 21st to December 18th, be sure to watch the World Cup. We'll see if Sasan's predictions hold up. And as always, be sure to subscribe for the Futurists for more content on history, politics, sports, and anything related to the future. We'll see you next episode.